Hey guys! The other day I read this really interesting article about era-themed parties such as like 1920s or 1930s themed parties and how they can be quite awkward for people who aren't white. This article offered a lot of perspective that I'd never considered before because I haven't had to. But what I actually found most interesting about it was the editor's note at the beginning, so I'm going to read it out for you. While this may feel like a small, insignificant problem to some, it's important to understand that oppression is a system, and that these day-to-day interactions feed into that system. If we want to combat oppression, we need to do it on all levels, big and small. And it's important to remember that if you belong to a dominant group, in this case white people, that it isn't your place to decide whether or not this issue matters. It can feel jarring to hear that something innocent to you can have heavy consequences. But try to sit in that discomfort in order to unpack the ways in which racism permeates everyday lives. So this really struck a chord with me because I constantly find myself feeling frustrated and angry with people who brush aside bigotry and offensive remarks because they don't think it's a big deal or that they think people are too sensitive. But like the article says, if you belong to a dominant group, it's not up to you to decide what is or isn't a big deal, and it's not up to you to decide what is or isn't offensive. And so why is this? Why don't you get to decide whether it's offensive or not? Well, let's take me for example. I'm white, I'm straight. So I don't have to deal with the everyday bullshit that non-white people and gay people have to deal with. For example, no one questions my sexuality. No one tells me I'm just going through a phase. People don't assume that I can't speak English before they even talk to me. I get that it can be difficult to understand what oppression feels like if you've never experienced it before, and it can be easy to overlook those little things because we live in a society where white and straight is the norm and we're never encouraged to think about the little things. But don't let that be an excuse for shitty behaviour or attitudes, not from you and not for anyone else. Another thing that makes me want to rip my hair out is when people try to pull the whole "the world is too politically correct and sensitive" card. I don't buy that shit. Because first of all, when someone says that, what I'm actually hearing is, oh, the world is so politically correct these days. I mean, it's ridiculous. You can't even say anything racist anymore. But when I actually sit back and think about it, I think I understand why people say that. I mean, no one really wants to be a jerk. And most people aren't actively racist or sexist or homophobic, so it can be really confronting for someone when they get called out on something they've said. So naturally, defences would go up, and a really common defence for this is to blame the person for feeling offended and telling them that they're too sensitive or they're too politically correct. And it's much easier than admitting that you've said something offensive and contributed to the oppression of a group of people. So my advice for if you ever get called out on saying something is to take responsibility for what you've said and have a conversation with the person you've offended and find out why what you said was offensive to them. And hopefully if you come to an understanding, you won't want to say that anymore and you might get offended when you hear someone else saying it. But at the end of the day, this isn't about turning society into an overly politically correct place where we have these taboo words that we can't say. It's about understanding, it's about being conscientious, it's about treating people like people. So that's about all I have to say for today. I'm going to put a link of the article in the description, and if you have anything that you want to add, put it in the comment section. So thanks for watching, and here's my little pickles. Have a great day. Bye!